All right, guys. So welcome to Surface Intel with Ina. I'm your host Ahmed Ina, and tonight I have two very special guys, Nathan and Filippo. And Nathan and Filippo has been working in the island for a while, doing scientific boring stuff for me. Yeah, so tonight I thought it would be nice to invite both of you guys to the podcast and talk about the scientific stuff that you guys are doing here, so people can see. I'm not just, or we as companies, not just doing fun dives, or we little bit support like conservation now. So Filippo, just introduce yourself, and then after that, Nathan, you can go ahead.
Sounds good. Well, I don't know where to start, honestly. My name is Filippo Bocchi. I'm an Italian marine biologist. I took my degree in the UK, in Plymouth, in actually marine science. And I worked previously with cetaceans for my thesis at undergrad level. I always had these big passions about the marine environment and trying to understand everything from different point of views rather than just purely observations. And yeah, I end up here in the one of the best place probably in the world where you can observe one of the highest level of biodiversity in terms of sharks and rays and other species as well. So it's literally a gem, the place I'm in now. So after university, I was looking for something as a kickoff, and I joined a conservation entity in South Africa that was working with another species of shark, ragged-tooth. So the ones that in the US they call sand tigers, and in Australia they call grey nurse. It was
What do we have here? Is that the same ones or different?
No, we have different species. So the species that we have here relates to the same family, but it's called small tooth. So essentially, it's slightly different, but belongs to the same family.
And they're rarer too. They're a deep sea water shark. So.
Yeah, correct. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. After this conservation group that I joined, and my passion even rocketed up even more, and I decided to continue my career. And it was actually pretty cool, the story that I have with you guys, because I was looking for how to start in a good way my career, and I started messaging you on the page. I don't know if you remember, but it was pretty nice stalking about the Instagram page. Oh, this is cool, this is super cool, seeing plenty of videos about tigers and other species too, and yeah, that's how I got the interview and the job.
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm Nathan Perzic. I'm the marine biologist for Fuvahmulah Dive School, one of the other diving organizations here on the island. I'm a dual citizen of Switzerland and the US. I've always known that I wanted to study sharks, so I've pretty much been wrapping my life around to end up pursuing a career in shark conservation. My first internship in Fiji with the bull sharks over there. Then for my undergrad, I did environmental studies at UC Santa Cruz, where I got more of an interdisciplinary understanding about how to protect sharks in the best way I could, and then did my master's degree in marine biology to get more of a scientific understanding of shark conservation. I've helped do tagging projects in Exuma, Bahamas, and I've led a BRUV study in St. Martin, monitoring the biodiversity of the ecosystem over there, which has led to an amazing project here where I'm on the pelagic paradise of Fuvahmulah.
Yeah, amazing. So for those people who are watching this, like this is a collaborative effort. So basically, Pelagic and Fuvahmulah Dive School, we've been Fuvahmulah Dive been doing photo IDs and different kind of science for last 6 or 7 years, I imagine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we jumped in about like two years ago, and we hired Filippo, and we've been doing a couple of projects, and let's start with the photo IDs, which is the longest running science that like both dive centers has been doing. But it's not just photo ID, I imagine, right? So you guys can explain what kind of data you guys collect and what it is, like everything. If you can share any results from that, and yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it started back in 2016 when the dive masters here would be taking a lot of pictures of the sharks. which started this photo ID project where our predecessor, the great Lenny Vosgeiter, went through all of that data and actually identified individual sharks by their individual traits. The area from the pectoral fins over to the heads is unique in every tiger shark. It's essentially its fingerprints, which has led to other projects such as tracking pregnancies, monitoring their growth, and site fidelity of the area.
Yeah, and then everything evolved into a secondary project which was more related to the aspect of sociality. So to keep it in simple terms, unfortunately, worldwide level, there is not much credibility in the fact that animals are all different and they make completely different decisions. They have different characters that has characteristics and define them very sharply. So the second project actually evolved into more social behavior studies. So what we are trying to say is the first time for these species, for tiger shark, trying to observe certain behavior that defines the relationship that they have and how complex their structure is in simple terms. So,
okay, how so those who are watching, right? I think it's important to explain how do you ID a tiger shark. Like where do you, how which photos you are taking. Like how do you ID a tiger shark, and how many tigers have we ID'd so far? And
for sure. So it's actually quite simple itself in terms of manual reference. So if someone has a camera of different kinds, it doesn't have to be a professional device. It can be just a GoPro like we do right now. The project actually started with Lenny taking pictures with good cameras, but it's actually a good point of view for a lot of organization out there. You can definitely do it with GoPros, and essentially, like Nathan anticipated before, there are sort of markings that are just different for every species. So for tiger sharks, they have this pattern alongside their head, and the stripes have also patterns on the fins as well. They carry some patterns. So depending on how the stripes are on the fins and on the body, they will give you an idea of their differences, and you can take a shot of this pattern every time, and having life right and left of the animal, you will have
you mean the counter shading above the gill plate or throughout the body?
Yeah, correct. That will give you an idea essentially of if every individual is unique, or if they are or if you have just the same in front of your eyes. And that can be done also with algorithm, so that calculates the percentage of matching once you train this algorithm and you provide a lot of picture. Essentially, the algorithm is able to differentiate between all these differences between the tigers.
Yeah, we're really lucky in this area specifically to where the tiger sharks get very close to us, so we are able to see that delineation pattern between the dark and light counter shading past its pectoral fin up to its head. We can use stripes also for ID because all the stripes are unique to every individual. However, depending on the photo quality, this could be a little bit more challenging, and the older they get, those stripes will actually fade. We do use dorsal patterns as well for short-term IDs because some of the sharks will have injuries on their dorsal patterns. However, their regeneration capabilities are amazing. They'll heal their dorsal fins in just a matter of months. So it's great for guests that are here for a short amount of time. But for us who are here, like seeing these sharks every month, we can't really use that, unfortunately, for cheating. So we really use that head pattern to label the IDs. And so far, we've got 263 current known sharks, 219 females, and 44 males.
Wow, there's a lot. And I don't know. I will say, I was actually blown away. Growing up on the island, I knew we have a lot of sharks, but of course, I didn't know to that extent. That we have so many tiger sharks around. So when Lenny was here, of course, first time when I saw, okay, we have X amount of sharks, I was like, really? We have that much? And then he said, yes. And I'm just curious, is there, you guys probably look into, studies more. I've never read a study actually, more than I do. Is there any place else in the world that has this, known. I'm sure tiger sharks are pretty much everywhere, right? But like the
Yeah.
population, do you know that any other place known that this amount of tiger sharks or more? Or
From the
No.
studies I've seen, no,
No,
essentially
actually
no.
not.
Yeah, not only is this probably the largest aggregation site of tiger sharks in the world, this is probably the only location where people are actually taking IDs and naming the sharks as well.
Yeah. To give some numbers into the conversation, usually when you read scientific papers, you have 50, 60 individuals, and in a matter of 7 years,
Yeah.
we have identified 260 plus, and we're still finding new individuals, which is even the coolest stuff.
how often we see a new one?
Usually the months that we see them is around, actually this month, December, November, October sometimes, and these are the times that we usually have new individuals in the harbor. So every year, last year we have 13 new individuals identified, which is once again kind of crazy because
Yeah.
you just jump in the harbor and it's 2 minutes navigation, and you have new tiger sharks every year coming over, and it's just amazing. Like you said, it's mind blowing. Yeah.
So you guys are also doing behavior,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I know we keep you guys keep a stage camera and film the entire thing from start to end of the dive, from each dive that pelagic or Fuvahmulah dive do, and we kind of, and how do you like observe those behaviors? I know, like for example, when I go, often, I'm with the sharks and I can pretty much read the cues and understand how they're gonna move and stuff like that. And I know scientifically I cannot prove any of the behavior I say to people. And how do you guys like plan to prove this certain behavior? Like, do you have anything planned, or you just recording and trying to figure out that?
So it's actually pretty cool, like you said, how much someone can learn just diving with sharks. And I would like to emphasize in this case that there is no need of scientific knowledge to isolate behavior. So you have a more native knowledge, if you want to put it that way. There is actually a lot already. What we are trying to do is just on a different extent. There are certain behaviors that, depending on the shark, swim to one to another. Essentially, they will make eye contact between one another, and this is the point where we have an idea that they're about to show a behavior, or as they are called, agonistic display. So they're essentially challenging each other in more intense or less intense way, depending on the way they swim. So if they swim parallelly one another, or head to tail, tail to head, or they will give you an idea of the structure, their hierarchy that they have at the beginning. Then you can go deeper with other more deep studies, right? Social network analysis, or like really going into deep. But just observing the animals, these will swim one and to another in different ways, and that will be the signal that you have this kind of interaction. So it's actually, once again, super, super cool, because that will give you an idea of something that before for science was a little bit, a tricky area, because it was subjected to personal interpretation. So
Yeah, and especially for tiger sharks as well too, because they're mainly a solitary hunter, and very rarely you will see more than 12 together at the same time, like we see here on our dives regularly. So we're tracking the dominant behavior of the sharks to see which ones, because this is a provisioning site, they're getting food. We're seeing which specific females are getting most of the food and what behavior will they display to show off their dominance.
Cool. You mentioned food, right? It's a big topic.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to talk about that topic and
Mm-hmm.
want to know your point of view, right? And so just to give some context of what's happening on the island, so people know, the provisioning of food is not something we started,
Mm-hmm.
right? So throughout the history, God knows how long, I've said this story many times to people, from my great grandfather to his parents to his grandparents, like all the generations that lived before us, when they go out fishing, they're kind of baiting, like they're chumming the water to to catch the tunas using a hand line and a hook, right? So sharks figure out eventually if they hang around these little boats, they eventually gonna catch half of the tunas the fishermen are catching. So especially the tiger sharks, has been around this island for a very long time. And then 2004, they built the harbor, fish market. All the fishermen started coming inside the fish market, and they were dumping all the fish waste until 2016. I think when Tatiana started it, inside the harbor, of course. And I remember 2014, I was swimming at the entrance of the harbor. I actually have a video somewhere, as well. I was spearfishing at the entrance of the harbor, and I caught a jackfish, and then a tiger shark came and took it from my spear. So, again, I've seen that even before when I was probably 10, 12 years old. When I was spearfishing, I saw one day, that's the first time probably I saw a tiger shark as well. So this has been going on for a very long time. And then collecting all the tuna heads from the fish market, dumping into one area at the entrance of the harbor, that obviously attracted a lot of tiger sharks in the same area. So this is sort of natural. Obviously, it's not natural also, right? Because we are in the water. Before the fishermen, they would just throw, the sharks get in, they eat and they leave, right? Or the fish market throw it and then they leave. Now we are in the water. So I guess people want to know, or I get asked this question a lot, or I get criticized a lot. Sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's like criticism. You guys are changing behavior of the shark by feeding them. Eventually something is gonna happen, this and that. And my personal opinion about that is, first of all, we are not hand feeding, right?
Yeah.
And they don't associate humans with the food, but they do associate boats with the food, right? Because the boat's gonna come and drop, and they also learn that behavior out in the blue when the fishermen go out in the blue. So there's something, through sharks who are around this island knows when they see a boat, yes, that's fishing, someone is fishing, or now at the harbor we are going to dive. So they do learn this behavior. So what is you guys, and Filippo, you've been here almost 2 years. Nathan, you've been here, how long you been here now?
3 months now.
3 months, yeah. And you also have access to all the data that, collected over the last 6-7 years. So you have gone through that. So Nathan, tell me, like, what is your opinion about this provision in food in general?
I think this area is pretty incomparable to other places where there is provisioning, because like you mentioned, for centuries people have been discarding their fish waste around the harbor area and around the island. For hundreds of years, humans and sharks have been coexisting here on the island. When it comes to specifics of the depredation of sharks, so training their behavior to, instead of going hunting, going after fishing boats, I have a specific personal opinion about that. I do understand the short-term effects that this can have on the sharks. However, there is an interesting trade-off that we're putting people into the water and having a safe shark experience where they're able to coexist with the shark in the water. We're changing their perceptions of sharks. So people who would be a little bit scared of sharks before are now having this amazing encounter with them here in the water. And I think that changes people's perceptions of sharks to where for future conservation efforts, they're more likely to vote yes on protective legislation to actually protect the sharks. So while I do see that there are like negative impacts on sharks, I think that the positive impact of long-term conservation for the sharks outweighs that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also we have to remember ourselves that sharks are heavily threatened in the environment. So we're trying to point our scientific research and trying to educate the public a little bit about these topics as well, meaning that if the tigers come here visiting and they're not resident fully throughout the year. They're not stationary outside of the harbor like it happens for other species. For example, there are more passive behaviors or a little bit more less mobile species, but they still have a sort of inflow, and they move and they go in other places around. We have the visual confirmation of that as well. We have been seeing these tigers that we have ID in other parts of the Maldives, for example.
Yeah, all the way up north by Fuvahmulah, right?
Yeah,
Like 200
exactly.
plus kilometers.
500 kilometers.
Yeah, just to explain people, so we are down south,
Yeah, we are down south.
about 310 nautical miles south of Male, and then we have ID like the some of the tiger shark that is in our database has been recorded in Hulumale at the shark tank, and we have confirmations of that. And also in Addu, right? Addu is the next southern atoll, which is about, let's say, 40 nautical miles away from this island. So they're going, like back and forth, who knows how far, maybe all the way to the north or different country, like, or whatever. Eventually the goal is to find out. Yeah, go ahead, Philip.
Yeah, no, it was just to conclude what you were saying now. It was amazing that day because I remember that we have a connection with another guy that in Ulumale that is diving there, and he shared his airdrop with me, and once in a while I go there and I explore if I see any tigers that I recognize. And I remember that I seen this video and I was like, hang on a sec, like I know that pattern, I know the sharks, when something is like familiar in your head, and or just visually you have the confirmation of something that you've seen before. And I was like, well, let's have a look at the catalog that we have, because this is how we do the identification. We have a catalog of all the individuals, and we go constantly in seeing if we can identify them. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I know that shark. And we have actually the confirmation that it was the same shark. So that was, and same happens for Haddu, and that's come the positive aspect of social media as well. It's just a big bank of data that is publicly available for this project as well. Sometimes there's a lot of existing projects, not only for sharks, that you can actually access. And in Addo, that was the case, and it was the same shark once again, Scar. That's her name. So that was pretty cool. The only thing I didn't mention before, it was I do believe that from comparison with other studies, there are some, like he was saying, short term, middle term, long term in time episodes of some changes. For example, the sharks that instead of visiting that area during the night, he does it during the day, or the amount of food that they eat. I believe that these things have to be monitored, but not only because of the health of the sharks, that of course is always put before everything, I guess, for everyone, but also because the dive operators, or in general ecotourism, can run these operations better. So how much food an individual eats, or what kind of food he eats. And I do want to say something positive, if you, Nathan, agrees about this place, that everything comes freshly from the fish market. So when the people at the fish market clean the fish waste, that's what goes into the harbor. So that what goes into the water, and that's something that doesn't happen in other places. For example, in resorts, sometimes that discard of food that is just extra food left over.
Food waste, like someone's pizza and leftover hamburger.
Exactly. So that's something that it's part of the prey items, as we say. Something that they're gonna eat anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. You mentioned something about social media, right? I know both of you have very interesting opinions about social media, especially the way I behave. And we can disagree, but I also want to talk about it. Obviously social media has pros and cons, like any other thing, right? And Filippo and I have argued about it a lot. And I get criticized also a lot on social media because of redirecting or touching the shark. So I'm doing this for attention and likes and comments and whatever. And of course it is part of the reason. And I'm not ashamed to agree with that. And also it's not just that. As you can see, like I love sharks. my company spend money on Filippo and all the projects, we're doing that, and not many people are willing to do above and beyond. There's so many dive centers also on the island and around the Maldives, and I don't see much that do. When it comes to touching the sharks, right, sensitive topic, people agree or people disagree, and 99% of the time I agree you can move away from there. If you are in front of them, just move away. But there are certain cases that I personally think, like as a safety diver, like people spending thousands and thousands of dollars to come here to dive with us by trusting us as safety divers, and we taking them, we providing safety. And my argument to this is, look, there's two sides. Yes, I put that on social media to grow our social media and to educate people and to showcase the coexistence. Look, we can coexist with the sharks. We can swim with the sharks safely. This is what you have to do if a shark's approach. And the other side of it is, of course, marketing, promoting, and we can drive business to the company, and then company can pay for amazing projects like you guys doing, and then it goes both ways. I also do it for myself because I like it. I enjoy it. And so I also want to say there's nowhere in the world, I don't think there's anyone besides the dive guides that work on this island. In every dive center, it's go and dive with 15, 20, 30. In April, March and April, on those months, 40, 48 is the maximum recorded at the same dive. There's nowhere else in the world who would come and say, hey, you guys are doing this, you cannot touch the shark, do this, and because there's nowhere else that you have access to this and this information and knowledge that we have. So I think if people are trusting us to go in the water with us, every dive guide, me or anybody else who work here, even you guys, you're diving with us, should have all the knowledge and all the training to react on a situation where you have to. Almost 100% of the time you don't have to. You can just get out of their ways. But out of thousands of dives that we do, we take a couple of clips and post it on social media. That does not mean we're doing it. So what do you guys think about redirecting or touching or using the sticks, whatever it is, like any method that people use to provide safety? Does it affect the shark's behavior, or is it proven, or do any of these, in a scientific way, if you have any of those knowledge?
Go for it.
Well, let's just put this into perspective here. You're a shark professional. You've been doing this on hundreds, if not thousands, of shark dives. We've been going on shark dives every day, and we understand that sometimes you have to redirect the shark. You can't control how the shark is behaving. It's a wild animal, so sometimes that has to happen. The thing specifically with social media is it's not being shown to professional divers. It's being shown to everybody. Once it's on the internet, everybody can have access to that. So you can have people that don't understand sharks at all, potentially, and could be seeing something that they disagree with. So I can understand that from the critics, but from those of us who are in the water every day, we understand that this has to happen sometimes for safety reasons.
Yeah, I totally agree. There is a part of ego that controls every human being, and I mean, there's not much that you can say regarding this. It's everyone has his moment. I do agree completely that to maintain safety, the best way so far I have experienced too is not using sticks personally, because that will, in some cases, maintain the the safety, but in a lot of other cases causing even further trouble. So like people poking the sharks in the mouth.
Yeah,
or,
that's from misuse of the stick.
Yeah.
If you're going to point it out towards the shark, this will make the shark curious about the stick. Well, it will come bite it or attack it or come back to it. If we kind of leave it perpendicular to us in front of us, we're just creating a space between us and the sharks. So for some of our guests who are uncomfortable touching sharks, this is a simple alternative that's safer
Yeah,
for
but
them.
who does that, honestly? You put the word uncomfortable, so everyone that is uncomfortable usually start to, I've seen it doing even from guides. So not just even people that aren't supposed to be experienced and they are supposed to maintain that. I do understand that in this case, the touching, the redirecting, which is a deterrent method at the end of the day, if trained, is trained professionally, it's a good way to maintain safety. In my personal opinion, way better than safety sticks.
But really emphasis on trained.
Yeah.
If somebody, some random person in God knows where sees this and says, "Oh, okay, well I can touch a shark because he's touching a shark."
Yeah.
Why not? And then they go out and they touch it at the wrong place or they get themselves in danger.
Exactly, and that's the other point that, for example, if you scroll social media, you see some supposedly shark safety diver, in the world that post a picture literally hugging sharks or kissing them in the mouth or just touching their hands on top of the snout. I don't think that is to maintain safety, and I don't think it does make you cool on social media too, because it's something that you have the feeling of you're dominating a wild animal, and it does inject your adrenaline, and that for sure 100%. But I think the key in this case is also putting yourself onto the other perspective, like you were saying. Like, there's a great deal of people that have no idea what you're doing. So if you see us doing something like this, you're definitely not going to change their perception, let's say, in a lot of cases, and improve the situation. You're going to trigger the opposite situation. So you're going to thinking, oh my God, this guy's, what is he doing? So I don't think that the way we do it is only to foster social media appearance and public, personal growth in social media only. I think, and I've been staying here, I've seen there's a lot of training behind that people don't realize. So what I always suggest is foster and promote those contents where you can see there's an element of training and professionality, as it was the video of our operational base leader, for example, his son, rather than when you see you're playing with the sharks a little bit too much. But that is my personal.
I get, like this a lot, as someone who do that and post it on social media, and then everyone, biggest concern everyone is, it's always, like paradigm shift, like everybody's concern is, what if someone who don't have a knowledge about redirecting a shark or handle a shark sees what we do and then jump in the water and start doing it? And what if that question? And then if you slightly change that narrative and think about, what if someone saw and me explaining how to redirect a shark, and that person was in the water, a large shark approached them, and then suddenly kicked that, okay, I saw this video on internet, or this is how you're supposed to do it, and this is what you're supposed to do when you are face to face with a shark. So there's both sides of it. And I think almost all the time, if I see someone jumping from the plane with a parachute and like skydiving, I'm not just gonna get into a plane and jump from the flight without any training. So most of the people, there are a lot of idiots that who would, even without, people do stupid things, and most of the people will see that and then I guess would think, oh, this guy knows what it's like, I'm gonna learn it. So they will do the training, they will learn it, they'll try to learn it and do it, And I don't encourage, even this conversation is not to people to encourage to do it. And I have 100% I'm saying don't do it. If you are going shark diving somewhere, go with professionals who know how to do it, who can provide safety, and like Formula Dive, like Pelagic, and any other dive center that we have on the island, go with them and dive with them and enjoy. If you want to work as a guide, if you want to do all these things and go further training, do your dive master, or like work in a dive center who does or operation does it, who goes shark diving. There's many places in the world you can go and like do shark diving. So do the training and then do it. And I encourage to do it. But also, I at the same time I'm saying, if you are someone who loves to be in the water, who loves snorkeling or free diving, like anywhere that you go, if there is a presence of sharks, if this area is known to have large sharks especially, then go on internet, watch the videos, read the books, have knowledge, because you cannot outswim a shark in the water. Not possible. You cannot show your back. We know you cannot show you got eye contact, you got to face it. If it comes too close, you have to push it away,
right,
and then look at if they case. So potentially these images and videos, if you look at it in a different angle, could save someone's life if they know how to react in a situation where they are confronted with a shark. Even with the most common thing, let's say we saw on the video recently, was also the one in Egypt, for example. If he was wearing a goggle or a mask, and if he could see the shark and could redirect the shark, perhaps he could save himself from that. And so again, there's both sides of all these things,
right.
And on that note, we have talked a lot about tiger shark. I want to shift a little bit more towards threshers, which is again something that Formula Dive guys has started with, keeping a camera or something. Tell us about the technology and what you guys do with that.
It's super, super cool. We have it from our collaboration with the Manta Trust. They're essentially these underwater housings with an external battery inside of it that connects to a GoPro with a underwater housing above it to keep it maintained in deep water areas like 40 meters, 36 meters plus. And we've pre-programmed a GoPro to turn on the next day and record time-lapse footage for every 2 seconds from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., taking pictures of whatever shows up. We leave these on concrete blocks on the cleaning stations, and we get so much biodiversity. I mean, we get pelagic thresher sharks, hammerhead schools, whale sharks, manta rays, mantas and threshers in the same frame. The small-toothed sand tiger shark even. We get a lot of really cool stuff on those.
Yeah, the other day we got blown away because in 1, 2, 3 days, was it?
Yeah.
We got all these pieces, just leaving some cameras and at the bottom of the ocean. So it's actually insane, the diversity that's around the island in terms of sharks and rays. And of course, we don't really cover all the fish diversity that there is out here, or the coral diversity. We had a PhD student, Samantha, that came here and did a PhD thesis on coral diversity, and she managed to find out that was the biggest diversity in the whole Maldives in terms of coral genera in Fuvahmulah. But just people don't realize, because they are used in their mind to seeing the soft structure or gorgonia or this kind of super colorful, soft kind of coral. So they don't understand that there's a lot of people understanding, but mostly the people don't understand that there's a lot of diversity in the reef. It doesn't look dead. This is sometimes a funny consideration that people make, just because the coral deep sea structures and they look a little bit less colorful. You just have to go there with a torch and you will realize how particular they are. So yeah, the threshers are unbelievable actually, because
and it's really cool that we have those cameras there, because they're such a shy shark. I mean, they're really, really sensitive to sound and movement, so we can't really get any close-up videos of them to monitor what parasites are on them, or to see the cleaning interactions ourselves. So these cameras allow us to have an eye on the reef to really see what's there and see the cleaning interactions.
Yeah, I saw the other day Filippo was going through some of the images that, like with the camera, and then
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Like they come literally on top of the camera, and then there's like, like I wonder, like what's the numbers of treasures around, because we see them all year round.
Oh yeah.
All year round, either in the south or north side, and we still yet to explore the west side of the island, right?
Yeah.
And who knows, like when we don't see them on the plateau or Tundi, they are on west side of the island, right? It's pretty. I don't, again, like is I cannot emphasize enough on this, like how much diversity we have on this island, even with treasures. Once we drop, just to make him fun of something, and then we drop the camera attached with the light to what, 200 meters.
Yeah, it was pretty deep around
Yeah,
that.
yeah, 150, 200 meters, and then there's threshers coming in, literally trying
Hitting
to hit the camera.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh whoa!
he has the videos.
Yeah.
I gotta see this.
Sure,
That sounds so cool.
They were so curious with that, and then they everywhere treasures, because it was strong current, so the camera was spinning. It
Spinning.
was literally a fishing line. What kind of camera was that, sir? Paralens?
Yeah.
Yeah, paralens camera with my underwater light. Like just duct taped it with the fishing line, and they just drop it. Which is super funny. Like, but like we found out there's so many, and even tiger sharks.
Yeah,
Even tiger sharks and threshers together. We in like what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was like a really brief time. Yeah, something
20,
like that.
30 minutes drop we did. And speaking about this diversity, one thing I kind of wanted, I don't know if you yet to experience it. Last year, I remember there's this guy Badri, actually he's coming in a week or so back here, and I was with him, and then we saw, I think like in Plateau, there was hundreds of silver tips, hundreds of grey reef, maybe 50, 60 hammerheads, tigers, and treasures at the same time
Wow.
in the same school,
Amazing.
with barracudas and fusiliers, and it was insane. So you guys, like, what do you think about it, like this kind of diversity? Like, yeah, tell me, are you blown away with that at least?
No, not at all. Never happens. Yeah. When I said at the beginning of this podcast that this island is a gem, this is what I mean. Like,
Right.
usually you have to go on an alpha day trip or full day trip. I don't know. I'm thinking about other places like Galapagos or even more pristine areas. Like, there's a lot of time that you have to spend on the boat to go into these places, or even a lot of money that you have to spend, or permits that sometimes you require from the government to see these kind of things. So here you just do 10 minutes navigation, which is nothing, and you can dive with all these pieces, like you said. One of the best dive I've ever had so far, it was something like that. Like, we jump in Farikede, which is the southernmost part of the island, and that's the end of the reef, like in local language, that's what it means, right? And we jump into the water, and we were surrounded in 8-minute bottom time, oceanic mantas, treasure, tigers, a shiver, which is like how you call a group of shark. Don't say school.
we can't take sports.
Yeah,
Shivers.
they're not normal fish. 50, 60 hammerheads. So it was just unbelievable. Like, I've been here for over a year now, and still I can't be tired of exploring and seeing what's under there. I would love to see, we were talking about it today, a treasure breaching, because they do breach. The fishermen see them all the time.
I've seen it many times.
There we go.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, we have to start recording that. Or I don't know if the public knows, but the way they treasure hunts, it's very unique, because they have longer tails, and it's not a case because they literally slap fishes to paralyze them, and then take advantage of that.
Yeah,
To
that's why they're my favorite shark species. Like sharks have been on Earth longer than trees have had, but only one species has evolved not to use its jaws as its main hunting strategy. It's just an amazing
Really?
fact. Yeah. Yeah.
Like out of all the species of sharks, you mean it's only
There's only one that
Mm.
doesn't use its jaws as its main hunting strategy with the
that's
thresher with
pretty
their
cool.
tails.
I've seen that twice actually. That them hunting. At Farikade both times I've seen them.
Mm.
Yeah. So never able to film it, but I was kind of in the distance, so I was like slap it, Fusiliers, and then just go and yeah, I've seen it. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, and all the with all this diversity we have, and it also means a lot of scientific opportunities,
Yeah.
right? For you guys, for nerds and
Yep.
scientists, and like all the other. No offense to anyone, that's just um, yeah, like what are the like future scientific studies that you guys really interested in? You think, like it is potentially things that you can, and there's like millions of things you can do, like, but so
Yeah, we're trying to start a BRUV project, baited remote underwater video system. So as scuba divers, we're making a bunch of noise underwater. So we're potentially scaring away even more life that we could see. So we're dropping these baited cameras down to really attract and see what shows up when divers aren't there. It's been a couple drops that we've gotten so far. It's really at the
Yeah.
beginning of that project. So we've run into a couple of complications early. Some are pretty funny. Do you want to
Yeah.
go into one of the stories about what happened?
Yeah, we did one deployment, and unfortunately, apparently that's what we got.
Yeah.
That the reel, which was attached to the rope because we didn't have enough rope to hold the structure down there with the buoys on the surface. The reel didn't hold the weight of the BRAV, and we found the buoys just completely, I don't know, a couple of 100 meters away from that, and we were like just going crazy thinking, oh, he's gonna be a tiger shark that old, and that got the framework. And the next day we went there and we found the bait box. I don't know, once again, like what was that, like 30-40 minutes horizontally away from the framework.
Yeah, a good 20. Yeah.
Yeah, and God knows what happened, we still have no idea. So that was a pretty funny story, but thank God the structure was still there, so we were able to deploy it. So in terms of, this is one of the projects we are working on, and we really need a lot of support from people. If you guys are looking for a way to help us here, a lot of guests that we have already have helped us a lot in donating GoPros and batteries. It doesn't have to be a big gesture, but of course, as we always remember to people, is a lot of effort from the dive center part in providing boats and fuel and people's time. So these things cost. So if you guys are happy to help us for that, a small donation, we have both the dive center, we have NGOs currently operating and working. Is Nature Friends of Maldives, there is Fuvahmulah Dream. There are donation spaces available to support this project. And the other ones, they're really cool. We are analyzing this camera that you were saying for the treasure, because there's only a couple of spaces in the world, but you have the possibility of seeing treasures getting clean. So we're trying to give as much as knowledge as we can into the equation and getting information regarding that.
And the possibility of seeing so much biodiversity is just amazing. I mean, you're rolling the dice to see pretty much anything here. I've heard stories from like my coworkers seeing sailfish, seeing a long fin, a short fin mako shark.
Makos, and oceanic white
tips.
silkies, a lot of it, things that you can see. And these like BRAV project, the camera, like reef, eye on the reef, photo identification, and outside of that, like I'm just trying to push the limit of scientific, like what is that, like advanced science, super cool science that potentially we could do here.
Yeah, we would love to do tagging,
satellite tags, uterine tags.
These projects will give you a very big knowledge regarding where do the animals move, because every time, for example, we have suspected pregnancies, and one of the new projects will be bringing here an expert, worldwide expert, for detecting pregnancies, because we don't have the confirmation of that. We just see that the bellies are slightly rounding and they grow and they grow and they grow, and then this animal leaves and they come back. But
We don't know if they're actually pregnant or just obese from all the food that they're
yeah,
having.
exactly. So one of these big projects that, stay tuned, it seems that is going to happen is we're going to scan with these devices like pregnant women use to detect pregnancies, doctors use on pregnant women. We're going to have the confirmation that tigers are actually pregnant, but I guess the tagging will give us a lot of more information regarding how deep do they go, where do they go, and there are different kind of tags available on the market that will give you different kind of ideas, but all of them will give us a lot of information more regarding the full aspects of the animal.
So we also know that a lot of sharks, almost all the sharks, that are around the island, they disappear for a couple of months and then they come back. Like, can you share any of those? Like, have you guys identified the pattern of how many months they leave and how many months they stay? Like any of those. I know you guys collect those data, but I don't know if you have actually gone through that.
Yeah, we track their absence periods, so how many days they're absent from their last sightings. And we noticed that with the suspected pregnant ones, this can be either between 35 days to over 200 days to where they're missing and going somewhere else, where we presume they're going to nursery grounds to give birth.
Yeah. Lenny started actually this work, and he's going to be publishing the data soon. So we have our hands tied so far in terms of more than what Nathan just said. But yeah, they don't stick around the island all the time. Depending on the individual, they have this time they just said that they will stick around, and then between 2 and 5 months they just disappear. So we have no clue where do they go. There are hypotheses that there might be nursery ground here and there, but we have no idea exactly where do they go. So what would you like to know?
Hopefully, Brav, can show the baby tiger shark. That's like the one in Bahamas.
Yeah, that's never been recorded before. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that would be so cool. But I know like you guys need proofs and stuff, but we know they're pregnant. We know, like, I know that.
Yeah, subjectively definitely.
Yeah, scientifics. Like, of course you need facts, and like, I'm joking, but I know that you need in order to be 100% certain before that say. And we also know, like, just by observation, I could use in my observation. I see scars, not pregnancy, like bite marks. That's apparent. Sharks are known to bite each other
mating
when
scars.
they're mating, and we see when the males are around the island, we see a lot of mating scars on the females. So in my observation, that is happening.
Yeah, but
It's happening. I know you cannot prove it, but like, we can say that's the observation, right? And then they stay here, they get massive, like big mama.
Yeah.
Last year, November?
Yeah.
Before she lived, she was massive.
No, in November when she was thin. In June she was unbelievably
Yeah, I saw the photo. She looks like a blimp.
Spaceship moving around. Like, we have this cool footage with the comparison between other individuals and her, and she was like, I would love to see those pups. Like,
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah, hopefully we're gonna find. One of the things that I think is, the northern atoll, Huvadu, got a lot of mangroves and a lot of, like, potentially areas, like sharks are known to. I don't know about tiger sharks, but do they give birth?
That is where lemon sharks have a lot of their
Yeah.
nursery ground in areas.
But we found out lemon sharks, baby lemon sharks.
Yeah.
Did you know about that?
Yeah, I saw the footage.
Yeah, a few days ago, me and Janelle, we were at the beach, and she was like, "Oh, it's a shark," and I was like, "Oh, black tips," and I've never seen it. Do you guys notice this island don't have black tip reef
random.
sharks?
Yeah.
Everywhere else in the
Yeah,
Maldives
that's
has
very
black
true.
tip reef sharks, and we don't. I cannot be black tip. And then I went on the beach, and I was like, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't know. Is it lemon? Like, because they got 2 dorsals and 2 pec, and And I was like, yeah. Then of course, I sent it to him, and he also said it was lemon sharks. And so that, what does this say? Like these are literally babies, like small, tiny ones. So we might be having some sort of, maybe not tigers, but some sort of popping ground around this island.
Yeah, for sure. It can be that. It can be that they are coming from other islands nearby, and they just I don't know. Maybe there were also some particular weather conditions, and they try to find shelter from them. Sometimes when there are shallow areas on more reef, warmer waters, a lot of species find shelter. This is what happens in the Bahamas, in the mangroves area, like you said. In Bimini, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, once again is to underline, we don't know how much more we have to say that, but this island is like really, really, really unique. And even though it's characterized by very, very big sloppy reef that goes down to more than what are the depths, like thousands?
The reefs around here?
Yeah, like
Yeah, in the thousands.
as you move offshore, yeah.
Straight to the ocean abyss.
There's a lot of shark species that you can potentially observe, and more and more we are figuring out. We have no idea about lemon sharks. We had no idea about oceanic whitetip. I mean, we have an idea from fishermen, but we didn't know we can get into the water with them. And so.
And I have a pretty big theory that we can see sleeper sharks here and the deep sea species of sharks and cookie cutters as well too. But
Or cookie cutters, for sure.
Yeah.
They've been caught in the past as well.
Really?
Yeah. This, like, I don't know, the in local language it's called kashmir, like something very oily, that very deep sea shark that they used to catch to take oil from the in the past. And I'm sure there's a ton of things that we don't know even deep. You guys are doing a lot of works, right? IDing, going through every image, all the stuff. And if you like, what you guys would say to someone who is interested to help you? If there's, I don't know, a student from university or whatever, like, experience, is there any possibility to come here and like help with both dive center or company, and like, is there any opportunity like that?
Yeah.
If they have the financial capabilities of finding accommodations for themselves and feeding themselves while they're on the island, I'd be personally very happy for the help.
Yeah. We are working on more and more projects all the time. So definitely the research effort is growing, and there are opportunities. We spoke with the University of the Maldives, for example, a little bit a while ago, about sending students here, and what we want to promote is also the possibility for Maldivians to join these projects, because of course when we have the presentation with schools and stuff, there is there's always this part of the debate where this is an ecosystem that they have under their eyes. So it would be lovely to get them more and more involved. But of course, for universities and research center to support this project, that it's important to understand that the support has to be either a very important bits of knowledge that you need to have, or you need to come here because, as you mentioned, for us, we are in the water every day, we are in front of the computer every day, so it's quite a bit of work that needs to be done. So we're gonna let people know about volunteering positions and opportunities for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, as someone who owns on the company as well, like, I also think you guys need help. And if anyone who wanna like be part of this amazing scientific projects that you're doing, and then on the future projects like you mentioned, the pregnancy scanning, potentially, if we get permits and couple of, I don't know, million, I guess, to do the tags. If that ever happen, like tagging, and anyone who is interested, reach out to us. And of course, you have to sort out your accommodation and food and flights and stuff. But when it comes to health, obviously it's gonna be something that anyone we are open to. I'm sure you Nathan, you are also. Yeah, so a little bit, I guess, towards the end of it, um, I think I want to ask this like question, like, what's your future like as a scientist? What do you wanna, both of you, what do you wanna achieve?
You want
Go
to
ahead.
start?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh man, I want to contribute the most towards shark conservation. I want to be part of a team or part of the group that really helps save sharks from extinction, so that my kids and their kids, my grandkids, are able to experience the magic of swimming with sharks in the ocean. So I think next for me is either a PhD program where I build my network and learn more of what kind of science is really relevant towards policymaking, or joining a conservation group or an administrative group and getting actually into politics. So get out of the field and get into an office and start actually talking to a lot of politicians to actually start passing protective legislation for the sharks. So 2 avenues that I could see myself going after this.
Yeah, I kind of relate. I would really love to taking part of a bigger project, like a PhD, because usually those are the ones that you can spend a little bit more time in. But do something that is effective for sharks as well, not only for my personal interest, because of course, I guess Nathan can relate for that, and everyone can relate. Everyone who is passionate for sharks. There's a lot of things that we have no idea, no clue about, even after years and years. But at the same time, there are not many projects out there that are actually making a difference for the sharks directly. So, of course, working towards something at management level of protected areas, that would be the key for the future. So, yeah, we'll see. That is kind of a sketchy question.
I hope you both, whatever you guys do, like you achieve your goals, and I hope we find some amazing science here, like some good conservation work, and that probably potentially will become a case study for the rest of the world as well. And the effort you guys are putting, and everybody else, the company owners, we should thank Satyana, like,
Yeah.
like she's the one who started it, and we joined later, and like everything we do pays off eventually, like towards conservation, and like finding some incredible findings. And I think at the end of the day, without proper policies, all this science means nothing.
Yeah,
Like
very
we
true.
can find so many cool stuff. So at the end of the day, the policymakers and the governments, you need to, for example, the city council of this island, who happens to be a big failure until now, but hopefully they will also, like come to their senses and realize, how incredible this island is, and how important is to put, it's not like we killing shark, it's just lack of regulations surrounded, with ecotourism. Ecotourism is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
very good thing, but it
100%.
also needs to be regulated,
Yeah.
with so many other things, which is a whole other topic that I don't want to go. So hopefully what you guys do pays off, and we can showcase the government and the city councils, and even the general public, like, okay, this is beneficial for the community and for the future generations, like, and all of it. And good luck, and thank you very much for joining. It was amazing conversation.
Yeah, no, thank
It was really
What you said really resonates with me. I mean, we're essentially setting the standard about how to do science as ecotourism organizations. We're really putting ecotourism into the scientific discussion in the academic table, which I think will do really, really good work for other ecotourism areas around the world, because we're in the water every single day. We're taking data every day. We have an abundance of data. So getting some of that stuff out and published can be really, really beneficial for ocean ecosystems.
Yeah, and one last thing that I want to add, of course, I would like to thank you in the first place to giving the opportunity. Thank Tatiana to have the mental sharpness. I don't even know if this exists, but because she was clever in starting the science here, and I would really love to what you said, that political organization and governmental level, they will understand that sharks don't have time. They don't, and whereas we have a lot of time, more to spend. So I would love them to really take decisions and really struggle to hire the right people, make the right knowledge, to really understand what is the next move to be done. And like you said, protection and management and conservation are always important. So yeah, and also that from ecotourism tour operators, don't just sit there and have in your own business, be creative, be hunger, and like you guys are doing, hosting us here, start projects on your own, hire people, because this is gonna also affect positively your business in the first place. So yeah, that was it.
And I have a closing question because I said what my favorite shark was. What are your favorite sharks?
What are your favorite sharks?
Tiger sharks.
Yeah,
Oh.
there you go. A good place for that.
Yeah. I love silver tips, even though they're like pure instinct compared to tigers that are more intelligent animal. I don't know about that level, but I personally love silver tips, the shape, the movements, and everything. How about you?
The thresher shark, definitely. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, treasures, like as you
Love
even
it.
our logo, so you see there's a treasure.
Yeah.
I think I just if there's any, if you ask me like what's the most beautiful shark, I would hands down like say treasure.
Oh yeah.
Well, for me the tiger shark is the personality.
Mhm.
It's what do you like, what it teach me, and like when I engage with them and in their presence, they're so dominant yet so quiet and slow, but if they want to be powerful they can be powerful. There's so many, and the patterns,
Yeah.
everything like is just is a whole package.
You mentioned their personalities. Is there an individual tiger shark here that is your favorite of all the other ones?
Pirate.
Pirate. Yeah.
Pirate.
Yeah.
I really like Rose.
Mhm.
But pirate is favorite for other reasons. That was the first shark that actually that got really close to me, and I have very close interaction with that. Like that's the first one, and I think pirate being so easy to identify, and since we started diving, I remember like back in the day she was so skinny. Like I think it was right after her injury or before it is, like she was so skinny, and then eventually like you see the progress, and then now she looks healthier, she looks like she gained body weight, and like she's surviving, and then like we took some photos, we put some t-shirts, and people started liking it, so always it became like a icon
Yeah,
of
of
the
course.
island.
Yeah.
And every guest is super easy for them to identify
Yep.
that pirate. So I think that for that. But when it comes to personality, I think Rose is my like she's sometimes I see when she comes right in the middle, all the other banner fishes and all the little fishes disappear. Like boom, they're gone. And like she's I think is like someone that like Rose is, yeah.
You're starting to see tattoos as well of our sharks, right?
Yeah, someone got pirate tattoo the other day.
Love that.
Yeah. I think Joker also, a few people got Joker. Treasures, I know a couple of
Yeah.
people got treasure tattoos, but yeah, like people love, Anyway, guys, so thanks for
Thanks.
joining, Filippo.
Thank you so much. man.
Yeah. Thanks for
Nathan,
having me, man.
yeah.
It was really cool.
It was really cool talk, and hopefully people can, learn what you guys do here, and then appreciate what do you do. It's not just fun that we are actually
Science.
not just redirecting, but also we are contributing
Yeah.
as well. And these guys are full time paid, by the way. It's not
Yeah.
volunteer work, so they are
Yes.
full time paid. Yeah, cool. Good night, guys.
Thanks so much.
care.
Good
Thanks.
night. Take care.